Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our council meeting this Tuesday, November the 3rd. We'll call the meeting to order. Could everyone please bow their heads for a moment of reflection? Thank you. Confirmation of the agenda. Does anyone have anything they wish to add to the agenda tonight? Seeing no one, we will need a motion to accept the agenda as presented. Moved by Jeremy, second by Amanda. All in favor? Carried. Okay, if you have pecuniary interest, you can declare that now or as the meeting goes along. Under our consent agenda items, we have 6 items there. Is there anything that anyone would like pulled? No? Okay, so I motion to accept them. Moved by Andrew, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. So we have no delegations. We have no public meetings or hearings. So we'll move right to planning. Our first application is application for consent to sever number B18/20 lot addition by Laura Kipfer, and Evan is going to present. So Evan, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Your Worship. If I can, I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
So the County of Perth received 2 applications, applications B18 and B19, both of which affect the same property, both of which I'm presenting here tonight. And they are under separate applications as they achieve 2 different objectives. So the first application, B18, is for a lot addition. And so I've pulled up this schedule from my report just to help give a little bit of visual on what's going on. So this is the subject property here in yellow, which is 7003 Raymond Drive in Millbank. And the application B18 proposes a lot addition, which is this portion here in red, and is proposed to be added to the property at 4072 Perth Line 72, which is the Milestone Equipment Limited property. They are a farm equipment supplier in Millbank. The application consists of two features. One is a lot boundary adjustment, which will result in a lot enlargement. So the boundary adjustment is from 7003 Raymond Drive. The enlargement will be for Milestone Equipment Limited. The subject property of Raymond Drive here is designated a village, and the village designation in Millbank is characterized as having a broad range of uses and activities. Permitted uses include, again, a wide range, but also include commercial and industrial. The current zoning of the subject property is future development, and the intent of that zone is to provide a land base which represents the logical area for future growth in the county and the community of Millbank. So essentially this property here is planned for development in the future, and that future has come in the form of these 2 applications. I think maybe the best thing to do would just be to cut it short and sweet and just let you know I can answer any questions that you have. But essentially what we're asking is that you receive the report for information and that you recommend approval of the application to the County Land Division Committee. One of the conditions, subject to the conditions of the report, one of the conditions of which we will require the applicant to rezone this portion of the property to the highway commercial use to match up with the Milestone Equipment property. So the crux of this application primarily is that through the severances proposed from application B19, the portion of land here in red would essentially be landlocked. thereby sterilized for future development. And so while the policy does speak to in lot enlargements being minor in nature, effectively this land would be sterilized from any development, and the better use of that parcel would be to add it to a property for use later on. This lot addition will facilitate potential future expansion of Milestone Equipment Limited and or new highway commercial use. I should note that there is no new development proposed as part of this application. It is simply a lot addition, but it will open up the door for future development. And it is also noted that the county has a requirement for site plan control should any new highway commercial use or enlargement to an existing use be proposed. So anything that will be proposed in the future will be controlled through site plan application, and of course the respective zoning on top of that. And I'll leave it there, and happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have any questions for Evan? No? Okay, seeing no questions, we do have a resolution. The Council of Township of Perth East received a report entitled Application for Consent to Sever B18-20 by Laura Kipper, affecting lands described as part of Lot 16, Concession 7, Mornington, as in R376653, except Part 1, 44R-1606, and Part 2, 44R-5418, subject to an easement over Part 1, 44R-5418 in favor of part of Lot 16, Concession 7, Part 2, 44R-5418, Township of Perth East, 7003 Raymond Drive, and part of the Lot 16, Concession 7, Mornington. Part 1, 44R-4495, Township of Perth East, 4072, Perth Line 72, dated November 3, 2020, prepared by the consulting planner to Perth County for information. And that Council of the Township of Perth East recommends that the County of Perth Land Division Committee approve the application for consent to sever number B18-20 for lands described as part of Lot 16, Concession 7, Mornington Ward, as in reference R376653, except Part 1. 44R-1606 and Part 2, 44R-5418, subject to an easement over Part 1, 44R-5418 in favor of part of Lot 16, Concession 7, Part 2, 44R-5418, Township of Perth East, 7003 Raymond Drive, and part of Lot 16, Concession 7, Mornington, Part 1, 44R-4495, Township of Perth East, 4072, Perth Line 72, subject to the following conditions. I'm going to do the Reader's Digest of them. That all financial requirements have been met, the taxes have been paid in full, a certificate be stamped and signed by the County of Perth within 1 year of the date of decision, that land not exceeding 2% be severed to conveyed to the township for park purposes, or cash in lieu of parkland be paid to Township of Perth East for the severed lot proposed for commercial and industrial purposes. The township that amendment to the Township of Perth East zoning bylaw be adopted to rezone the proposed 0.98 acre severed lot from future development to highway commercial to permit these uses to be allowed in zone C3. That the drains are updated and reviewed. The county be provided with a description that's consistent with the application to register the deed or the transfer, and this be done electronically. That the owner of 7003 Raymond Drive conveys a 0.98 hectare portion of the property to the owner of 4072 Perth Line 72 by law of a deed or transfer to the satisfaction of the county, and an undertaking from a solicitor stating that the severed parcel be added to 4072 Perth Line 72 will be sold to the buyer to the satisfaction of the County of Perth. We have a moved by Jeremy, second by Hugh. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Carried. Okay, and now we'll move on to the other application for the same person. Evan, the floor is yours.
Thank you again, through you, Your Worship. I'm going to share my screen one more time. So on my screen here is the sketch that I prepared to illustrate the second half of this property and the proposed development, which is application B19. So this application proposes to create one new lot through a severance and retain one lot at 7003 Raymond Drive. The lots are proposed to be created to facilitate either a new commercial use or an industrial use. Again, this is the same property we spoke to earlier. So the official plan designation is village. The property is zoned for future development to accommodate growth in the community of Millbank. The lands proposed to be severed will create a new 3.8 acre lot here in purple and a retained lot of 12.5 acres. Most of you know the short portion of Raymond Drive sort of ends abruptly at the confluence of this property. So one of the conditions of this of our recommendation is to convey this portion of land here in green to the Township of Perth East in order to facilitate the improvement and extension of Raymond Drive, which will require some sort of a larger bulb, if you will, for proper road construction requirements under the Ontario standards and to the satisfaction of the township. The recommendation here is that the township take the report for information and that they recommend approval of the application to the Land Division Committee, subject to the conditions, one of which being that the developer convey that portion of land to the township. Second, that they facilitate development through a zoning amendment, depending on the type of use. Again, either a new commercial or a new industrial use would require a future site plan application to demonstrate conformity with official plan policies and zoning and the implementing zoning bylaw. The other part to this application that we've assessed, since there's going to be a new use in the area, is land use compatibility. So in that respect, we have prepared a neighborhood compatibility matrix, which is on in my report. And the neighborhood compatibility matrix takes into account surrounding lots in terms of their area, their lot frontage, their building type, and whether or not those surrounding lots are in compliance with the zoning bylaw. And what we can say is that the proposed severed and retained lots fall within the range of lot areas and lot frontages in the surrounding use, and would be compatible with the existing surrounding uses. To the north is a right-of-way, and beyond that, agricultural land. To the east is more agricultural land, and then to the south and west are a variety of complementary uses such as highway commercial, institutional, and other sort of more industrial related uses. Across the street on Perth Line 72, some distance from these properties are the nearest sensitive land uses, being residential in nature. So the county has assessed this development in what would ultimately facilitate future industrial or commercial in the context of land use compatibility, and is satisfied that this these lots will not negatively impact any sensitive land uses and would be consistent with the rest of the neighborhood. So I think again I'll leave it there and open to any questions.
Okay, thanks, Evan. Questions, Andrew? You're muted.
Anyway, thanks very much, Evan. Nice to meet you for the report. I'm just the conveyed area. If it was developed, I know with some of the residential developments, the builder basically builds it, and then the township assumes it after all the work is done. So this won't be like that? Will the township be developing this cul-de-sac or entry point into the new subdivision, or will this be a developer's? If it's going to be conveyed to us, will this be the township responsibility or development?
Sure. Through your worship, to you, Councillor McAlpine, the one of the conditions of this particular consent is that the owner enter into a consent servicing agreement with the municipality that will lay out the sort of legal obligations that's required of the landowner. So essentially, we're asking them to provide financial resources and, if necessary, construction to facilitate this build out. I think ultimately the township is preferable to doing the construction themselves, so they can maintain their degree of standard, but they would require all financial resources to compensate for that work, and that would be done up front and at the owner's expense.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else with questions? No, see no questions. We do have a resolution that the Council of the Township of Perth East received a report entitled Application for Consent to Sever number B19-20 by Laura Kipper affecting lands described as part of Lot 16, Concession 7, Mornington, as in R376653, except Part 1, 44R-1606, and Part 2, 44R-5418, subject to an easement over Part 1, 44R-5418, in favor of part of Lot 16, Concession 7, Part 2, 44R-5418, Township of Perth East, 7003 Raymond Drive, dated November 3rd, 2020, prepared by the consulting planner to the county for information. And the Council of the Township of Perth East recommends that the County of Perth Land Division Committee approve the application for consent to sever number B19/20 for lands described as part of Lot 16, Concession 7, Mornington Ward, as in R376653, except Part 1, 44R-1606, and Part 2, 44R-5418, subject to an easement over Part 1, 54R-5418, in favor of part of Lot 16, Concession 7, Part 2, 44R-5418, Township of Perth East, 7003 Raymond Drive, subject to the following conditions. I'm going to do the Reader's Digest again, that the financial requirements have all been met and the payment of any outstanding taxes, that the collection be stamped and signed by the County of Perth within 1 year of the decision, land not exceeding 2% of the land be severed, conveyed to the Township of Perth East for park purposes, or cash in lieu of parkland be paid to the township for the severed lot proposed for commercial or industrial purposes. That confirmation from Township of Perth East that an amendment to the township's implementing zoning bylaw be adopted to rezone the severed and retained lots from future development to the appropriate zone in order to permit commercial or industrial uses and recognize any zoning deficiencies that may occur as a result of the severance. That confirmation be received that the apportioned schedule of municipal drains have been reviewed and updated, that the primary servicing and surface water management plan be submitted to the satisfaction of the Township of Perth East for prior to final approval, a reference plan be prepared by an Ontario land surveyor to the satisfaction of the county, that the properties and related parts in the reference plan be deposited and registered at the local land registry office, and they provide a copy of the registered reference plan to the county. Once done, that is done, that the owner developer enter into consent servicing agreement with the Township of Perth East to satisfy all the requirements financially and otherwise of the municipality concerning the design, construction of Raymond Drive extension, related improvements, installation of services, utilities, drainage, and lighting. The owner developer conveyed 0.15 hectare portion of the subject property intended to facilitate the extension improvements to Raymond Drive right away to the Township of Perth East by way of a deed or transfer, and the undertaking from the solicitor be provided stating that the 0.15 hectare portion of the subject property intended to facilitate the extension and improvements to Raymond Drive right away be conveyed to the Township of Perth East. Moved by Andrew, second by Daryl. Is there any more comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Thanks, Evan. We appreciate your time and your reports.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
You too. So now we will turn to application to consent to sever by Patrick Fern and Jane Eli Fern. And we have Louisa with us. Louisa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Worship. Good evening, Mayor and members of Council. I'll be presenting this report on behalf of the county for consent application B3020. This is an application for a surplus farm dwelling severance. So county staff have reviewed the materials provided by the applicant in support of this application and have had numerous discussions with the applicants, which has ultimately resulted in the proposed severance configuration presented this evening. So as a summary of this application, the owner of the subject lands, the Ferrens, Patrick Ferren and Jane Eli Ferren, have applied for consent to sever an existing farm dwelling, which has been deemed surplus to the needs of the farm operation of the intended buyer of the proposed retained lands. The area of the proposed severed residential lot is approximately 1.14 hectares, or 2.8 acres, and currently contains a 2-story single detached dwelling, a metal drive shed, which is utilized for the storage of the landowners, the Ferrens' personal vehicles, among other personal items associated with the residential use, a septic system and a water well. The septic system currently servicing this dwelling is located to the south of the dwelling in a grassed area close to Road 112. This septic system is approximately an approximate area of 700 square meters. A geothermal system which services this dwelling is located to the north of the dwelling and is not included within this proposed severed lot, as the system is within the cultivated area and is proposed to remain on the retained farm parcel. The applicant has requested that an easement be registered on title over the land containing this geothermal system to ensure that the residential lot will have continued access to the geothermal system, which services the dwelling. The proposed retained farm parcel would have a lot area of approximately 41.17 hectares. And this proposed retained farm lot contains farmland, an existing small horse barn and stalls, and this previously mentioned geothermal system, which services the residential dwelling on the severed parcel. In summary, we have put forth 2 recommendations for this application, one being that the Council of Perth East receive this report for information, and the second being that the Council of Perth East recommend to the County of Perth Land Division Committee that this application be approved, subject to the number of conditions identified in this report. I'll leave it at that. Should there be any additional questions, I am available and happy to answer any questions.
Okay, does anyone have any questions? Daryl?
Yeah, no, great there. Thanks. Well explained. The geothermal, Rhonda can hop in here. That is something that we have been leaving with the property, the house. Not doing the easements. There's been confusion and scared, especially one like this that's kind of nicely laid right against the property line. And then what they usually do is just agree to, you know, hey, that's mine, but work it as a field. But we do tend to leave them with the property, the house, and maybe a shop that's tied in the loop as well. I'm just speaking on part of a city representative of the land division. It's just cleaner, but my thought, hey, maybe there's something new going on. Maybe you can add some comment.
Yeah, absolutely. Through you, Your Worship, to address your question, Councillor Herlick. So we have been in numerous conversations with the applicants and have gone back and forth in discussing this and the viability of the geothermal system on the retained parcel versus the severed parcel. Ultimately, we understand that this shouldn't serve as a precedent necessarily, and we don't want it to. But we recognize that in this situation, it is a unique lot in that the geothermal system is within the cultivated area, and in the interest of not removing agricultural land from agricultural production, and amongst a few other reasons. So actually in the report, it's laid out near the end of the report, and I'll go through a few of these reasons for you. So ultimately, the addition of the geothermal system within the severed parcel would result in an excessively large parcel beyond the current size that it currently is. In addition, the applicant and their legal counsel are confident and have assured the county that this proposed access easement would allow existing and future landowners of the severed residential lot sufficient access to this system for future maintenance and repairs as necessary. Thirdly, this, as mentioned, it would remove agricultural land from production potentially. Another reason being that to our understanding, this geothermal system is buried fairly deep. And so there is no concern with farm operation or farm equipment potentially disturbing it at the surface level. And lastly, and potentially most importantly, we have been assured that should this geothermal system fail, the intent would be that it would be reinstalled on the severed parcel. So it would not be reinstalled outside of the parcel and on the farmland. And there has been a condition added to the approval of this application to that effect to ensure that this geothermal system would be reinstalled within the severed parcel.
Okay, any other questions, Daryl?
Okay, second part here. The north boundary line, that's going to be the boundary line. There is a fresh tree line there. Are you familiar with the property?
Yes, yes.
So what it is, it's a fresh tree line. Listen, this is 3 miles from my house. I know the property, and I was called on it by a couple people concerning the size. But that tree line, in theory, that tree line is not real established, like 3-foot trees type. They're very spaced. And in theory, you know, we're losing an extra 75, 80 feet the whole length of the northern boundary if that tree line wasn't there. It's something I had some concern about. That tree line, as much as it's there, it wouldn't affect our county policy or anything if it had to be removed, because it isn't solid. Even if it was, as long as there's spacing, it's no more than the allowable size that can't be removed. It is a lot of land. If that tree line weren't there, we'd gain about 80 feet the whole length of that property on the north side. And that's a lot of land. So I'm a little concerned with that. I know at the county right now, we are watching this stuff closely. Yes, we are adding the bigger sheds, and I don't have a problem with that. And the sand ring is being removed there at the back of the property or whatever that is on the north end of the shed. But just that tree, that little tree line there has added a lot of width, if you would, to the whole length of the property. It's a little much. And I just don't know if I can support it. That's where I'm at because of that. It's a lot. And as far as the easement, it won't affect that. That easement would still be out there in the field. But it's a lot. It's a lot of extra land that easily, effortlessly could be put in the farmland. So I'll leave the floor for the rest. Thank you.
Okay, Daryl, just so I'm clear, the tree line you're talking about is over by the easement for the geothermal. Is that correct? Between it and the house?
Yeah, it's the north lot line there.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
It doesn't show it like that's a tree line. Like they're about, I don't know, maybe 8 feet tall, spaced right where that line is. It doesn't say that there's trees there. That is why they out there. Yeah. And then in front of the house as well, it is grown in. It is something that's grown in, but in theory, it's just let go there again. We've been back and forth on these, so I'm expecting some debate on it. I just want it easy before it gets there and it all gets thrown back this way. So I do have concern mainly on that northern boundary line that is proposed. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else with questions? I just have one. How big is the shed? The drive shed? Do you have dimensions or square footage?
I do not have dimensions at this point in time. I can make a note of this and follow up with you. But to my understanding, the drive shed is currently used for, there's no attached garage to the dwelling. So it's currently used as a garage in addition to the storage of supplies and equipment associated with the residential use of the dwelling.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Daryl?
I can chime in there, Rhonda, just for reference off the top of my head. It's about 40 by 60 or 80 feet long. And the east end of that shed is an open end shed where you could pack a couple of tractors in. It's definitely smaller than some of the sheds we have allowed.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, it's something to know.
Yep.
A million times. Thanks.
Okay. Anyone else with any questions? Okay, we do have recommendations. We have 12 actions. So I will read them. If there's something you want added, we can do that after. The Council Township of Perth East received a report entitled Application for Consent to Suburb Number B30-20 by Patrick Fern and Jane Eli Fern, affecting lands described as Lot 41, Concession 8, Southeast Hope Ward, 3237 Road 112, Perth East. Dated November 3rd, 2020, prepared by MHBC Planning Consulting Planner on behalf of the County of Perth for information. That council recommends that the County of Perth Land Division Committee approve the application for consent to sever number B30-20, Lot 41, Concession 8, Southeast Hope Ward, 3237 Road 112, Perth East, subject to the following conditions. So the electronic registration certificate of official be scanned and attached to the electronic registration. Number 2, the approve the description with the consent with the application equal that is required to the registration of the deed/transfer. The reference plan be required an electrical file containing the digital plotting of the description. Number 3, that the Perth County Land Division Committee Secretary, that the sign has been posted for 30 days, and if not returned, there is a fee for not returning it. The confirmation be received from the Township of Perth East that the drains are reviewed and updated. Confirmation be received from the Township that the amendment to the Perth East zoning bylaw be adopted to zone the proposed severed lot to permit only a dwelling and accessory uses, buildings and structures, home occupation, bed and breakfast establishment, to zone the retained farm lot to prohibit any new residential dwellings, to zone the proposed severed lot and retained farm lot to recognize any zoning deficiencies that may occur as a result of the severance. Example, reduce minimum lot area, lot frontage and rear yard to be zoned to a retained parcel to limit the number of nutrient units for the small barn to a maximum of 3 nutrient units. That confirmation be received that the property owner is in an agreement with the County of Perth to prohibit any new permanent residential dwellings on the retained farm lot, that a reference plan be prepared by Ontario Land Surveyor to the satisfaction of the county to describe specific properties and related parts, and reference plan be deposited and registered at the local land registry office. Number 8, an undertaking from solicitor stating that the retained parcel be sold to the proposed buyers, which is Elhaven Farms Incorporated, as its surplus to their needs to the satisfaction of the County of Perth. Number 9, the solicitor provide confirmation that an easement has been registered on title in favor of the severed residential parcel to provide access to the geothermal system contained on the retained farm parcel for maintenance and repairs as identified on the reference plan to be deposited and registered. Number 10, confirmation from Township of Perth East, the owner has entered into agreement with the Township of Perth East that the existing geothermal on the retained farm lot, if it fails, that the new geothermal system shall be relocated to the severed residential lands to ensure continual access to the system for the landowners of the severed residential lot. Number 11, that the Township of Perth East, that all financial requirements have been met. And number 12, that the Township has, all the taxes have been paid in full. So do we have a mover for that? Hugh, second by Andrew. Are there any comments or questions, Andrew? You're,
I'm looking at the sketch up of all the utilities and that, and it's kind of spread out a little bit. I definitely see what Councilor Hurlick is saying, and we want to keep these small. Carve off a big chunk at the top there behind the shed, the geothermal out in the middle there like that. I think I'm quite willing to support the idea of the concept of the severance, and you guys can duke it out at county. So it is a kind of a weird one with the septic bed sticking out the bottom, and you know it's not pleasant, but we have to deal with them on a case-by-case basis. So that's what I have to say.
okay, thank you. Daryl, did you want to say something?
Fair enough. I understand it is a little confusing there. And again, I just have concerns with that northern lot line. The trees are fairly spaced. They're not very tall at all. They could easily be transferred, but I get what Andrew's saying. And I will go from there. But, no, thank you.
Okay, anyone else have any questions? If not, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4 opposed. Carried. Thanks, Louisa. Thanks for your time and your report.
Thank you and have a good evening.
You too. Okay, now we're going to move on to the CAO, and the first item is about the office closure over the Christmas and New Year's holiday. So I'll turn it over to Teresa.
Everyone hear me now? Sure. Okay, sorry about that. Can you hear me now? Okay, perfect. Talking through the mayor's computer. So this report is basically requesting council's consideration for closing during over the Christmas week between Christmas and New Year's. Typically, we do have few people attending the office with traffic, and it's also a time when it's nice for staff to be with their families as well. Requesting basically there would be 2.5 days in there that are non-stat days that staff would be either using their vacation leave time without pay or even having the ability to work during that time if they wish. So that's for council's consideration, as well as tacked onto this report, council's consideration for moving the January 5th council meeting to January the 12th.
Okay, any questions? See no questions, okay. Oh, Daryl.
Yeah, this is obviously something that we're not going to get our fingers slapped for. There is legislation that allows us to totally close the doors on non-sketch days.
I can hardly hear you, Daryl. So
Like, we can do this, right? Legally, close the doors on non-statutory holidays.
yes, we have done this. It has been done in the past. As one other time when I was on council, it was done that we closed the office down during the holidays where the days fell. And I think in the past, what's been happening, I think it's in Teresa's report, there's just a few people in staff or on staff that are here and very few customers, if any, come in during those days. So this is why it was proposed to do this.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Hey, I get what you're saying. It's something we obviously will need to make it available to the public and let them know, but hey. Fair enough.
Okay, Jeremy?
So I was having a little bit of problem hearing Daryl there. I think I understand his intent there, but I think there's a lot of different businesses that are in the same situation. and we're responsible to the taxpayers. I feel strongly that we should be leaving the office open. To me, the four options that staff have to use vacation, use lieu time, use unpaid time, work during holidays, those options are all still available, even if we're running a skeleton staff keeping the doors open. So I do feel strongly that we should be keeping the office open. If they call the office and there's no answer, the next thing is that they're going to be picking up the phone and calling their local counselor over the holidays too. So we're not here to answer the types of questions that people might have when they want to be in the office. So I do feel strongly that the office should remain open.
Okay, Amanda?
In terms of, I mean, this only affects the staff in the office. This obviously doesn't impact Public Works and the rec center. Is that correct? And, you know, in the event that council were to move forward with this, would that be seen as something unfair for those staff members for those additional days off?
So previously we have had, can you hear me okay? Previously, we we've run the office with minimal staff as well. In fact, we've had times when it's been a couple of managers who have been in the office over the Christmas season, but I still do understand in terms of your concern as well, Amanda, regarding that those programs will continue to be offered if there are scheduled programs for that time, or if there are rentals as well. One of the things during the time that we're in right now with COVID as well, we've also offered additional abilities for the public to contact the office regarding their payments. It's been more enhanced that way in terms of options. As well, we have our new phone system, which all of our managers, which that's very enhanced, and it's actually, should someone call, we actually get those messages as well on our phone. So if there was an emergency or someone did really need to contact someone, then they would have the ability where managers would be receiving those emails as well on their phones.
Okay, Amanda, keep going.
I just want to, like, I think, I mean, you know, given the year that we've been in, I mean, certainly we don't have a Christmas party this year, and a lot of things that, something that staff would look forward to. So it's something that I'm in support of for this year at least. But I just want to make sure that the reason I asked the question earlier is I just want to make sure from a fairness standpoint that whatever decision we make, that we're being fair to everyone, and that that in the event that council were to move forward with this recommendation, that this is something that is reviewed annually. It's not assumed that this is something that happens every year. So I just wanted to make note of that.
Okay, Andrew?
No, as I read the report, definitely this year has been pretty rough. Councillor Matheson's, they won't be getting hold of me. I'll be in the factory 12 hours a day every day but Christmas. But it says here, I'm in support of this just to give everybody a bit of a breather and get back into it next year when hopefully things start opening up. I see the opportunity to take time off. So maybe financially some staff may not be able to take the time off and they'll want to work it, and at manager approval. So obviously the managers are going to make sure that there's going to be the title of the report is office closure. So it sounds like it may not be closed, or we don't know exactly. Is the door is locked thing? Is there going to be a note on the door that says, "Hey, call West. His personal cell phone number is gone." Like there's going to be some ability to contact. Correct, or how that actually look if someone shows up?
So for this, similar to when we do have our holiday our holiday schedule, we always advertise. Well, we put that in Shopportunities. We also include it on our website. Any circulation that we can do through social media as well, and we post it on our doors.
Andrew, go ahead.
So do you feel that there will be people who will want to work or have to work?
This point,
Managers
I
will
haven't heard-
deem,
sorry.
or managers will deem their job necessary and they'll be in the building. I just see the word closure and I see the words opportunity and manager approval. So I'm just trying to resolve the difference between.
Okay, so I haven't heard of anyone saying that they're really looking forward to working through that between Christmas and New Year's. I've heard comments that, and this is why the report is coming forward, that it would be nice to have the opportunity to have those, those days off. In terms of when it says manager approval, and it's always subject, time off is always subject to manager approval. And as well, our managers know what the schedules are in terms of, what needs to get done and that type of thing. So we're not huge staff at the admin office. And, certainly we try to balance everything as well. And the managers will schedule accordingly.
Okay, any more questions? Seeing none, we do have a motion. We'll see where it goes. That the Council of the Township of Perth East received a report prepared by the CAO dated November 3rd, 2020, entitled Township Municipal Office Closure 2020 Holiday Schedule. That council approved the holiday closure of the Township Municipal Office on December 24th at 12 p.m. with reopening of regular hours on Monday, January 4th, 2021, and that the January 5th, 2021 regular meeting of council be rescheduled to January 12th, 2021. Do we have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Hugh, second by Amanda. Is there any more comments or questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, then we'll move to renewal of risk management services. Teresa?
Okay, thank you. So this report basically outlines the renewal for risk management services with the UTRCA. Attached to it is the correspondence that we've received, which outlines all of the responsibilities. In terms of having the agreement, we don't have, it is a requirement under the Ontario Clean Water Act. And on staff, we do not have the resources to be able to have the risk management in-house.
Okay, any questions for Teresa? Daryl?
Yeah, no, we're definitely not alone in this. Is there something we could do within the county where we look after this and the county looked after the lower tiers? I don't know if something I'd like to see, but I understand the Conservation Authority is there and has that compiled already, if you would, as much as I don't agree with it all always. Yeah, I think we're going to have to support this. It's very understanding that we can't do it here, but I just got to make the comment. It's something maybe we should look into if we could look after it. I'll leave it at that. Thanks.
Okay, I don't think the county would look after it unless they had something similar to what we have, right? Would have to be one of the lower tiers, take the initiative and ask the other ones to join. Any other questions? Seeing none, that the Council of the Township of Perth East receive the renewal of risk management services agreement with the UTRCA report dated November 3rd, 2020, prepared by the CAO for information. That council approve renewing an agreement with the UTRCA, for the time frame of January 1, 2021 to December 31, 2023. And that council approved giving 3 readings to bylaw 65, 2020, being a bylaw to enter into an agreement with the UTRCA for risk management services for the time frame of January 1, 2021 to December 31st, 2023. Moved by Daryl, second by Amanda. Is there any more questions or comments? All in favor? Carried. Okay, and the third item is the Perth County Connect Transit Bus Stop Agreement. Teresa?
All right, thank you. So as council are aware, the community transportation project is, the launch of that is November the 16th. So one of the requirements in terms of bus stops in the different areas. So the county had reached out to us and we've had internal discussion with managers regarding a good location. And the location that is with this agreement that's suggested is in our parking lot. So basically to drive in the U shape and the bus can come in there and exit. Basically the requirements for us are ensuring that maintenance is conducted as well as insurance. So we've already had our insurance providers review the agreement as well. Our parking lot here is maintained by Public Works regularly because of the public being here and staff.
Okay, any questions for Teresa? Andrew?
I've been following this loosely and I was hoping that Shakespeare would be a stop on this somewhere along the way. I'm not sure why it's not. Is there any reason why the village of Shakespeare was left out of this?
I'm not sure. Maybe because of the proximity of where it is and the time that the bus could get around. There is oh no, it's not going to Shakespeare either. We can ask that question. That's never been brought up, Andrew, actually, at our committee meetings. But I think that we're trying to do squares and to include Shakespeare would be a big area to get there and make it all figure out. So, but we can ask that question. Carol?
I remember off the hop having a little conversation on that, and ideally down the road, the grand scheme is to have one coming from Kitchener connecting again, and then it would be another joint effort of multiple counties and townships from the same thing. And I think I recall that being talked about it. Of course, that's down the road, but yeah, for sure. I echo what Andrew's saying. I mean, it was a fraction of the size of. Sure, we would have to go out, but when you head north, and so runs on such an angle, it wouldn't be that big a difference. But yeah. That's for sure.
Okay. Does that kind of answer your question, Andrew?
Well, I'm not going to support it without Shakespeare on it. Not that that's going to matter much, but the program actually being around by the time it goes regional, it seems low. But the fact that they didn't even consider, I don't know what the background was. I don't think it was on purpose, but there would be people here who would like that service too. So, yeah, thanks.
Well, Teresa and I'll make a note of it and make sure when we have our next meeting, we will bring that concern up to the county to make sure they know. Okay. Okay, anyone else have any questions on this? Seeing none, we do have a resolution that the Council of the Township of Perth East receive the Perth County Connect Community Transit Bus Stop Agreement Report prepared by the CAO dated November 3rd, 2020 for information, and that the council approve giving 3 readings to bylaw 66-2020 being a bylaw to enter into a bus stop access agreement with the County of Perth. Moved by Jeremy, second by Amanda. Any more questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, anything else, Teresa?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We will move to clerk. And the first item is a request for improvement on a drain.
Ready?
Okay.
Okay, this request for a drain coincides with the consent applications that were found earlier on the agenda that Evan had printed or that Evan had reported on. So basically they need to have this drain moved in order to move forward with their future projects. So if there's any questions, I can answer those.
Okay, is there any questions on this report? See no questions. We do have a resolution that the Council of the Township of Perth East appoint Dietrich Engineering Limited to prepare an engineer's report under Section 78 of the Drainage Act. Sorry, I'm reading the wrong one, she tells me. Okay, let's try again. So the Council of Township of Perth East received the request for repair improvement, Section 78 of the Drainage Act by property owner Laura Kipfer for the Signer Municipal Drain part of Lot 16, Concession 7, Mornington Ward, Township of Perth East for information, and that in accordance with Section 78 of the Drainage Act, the appointment of the engineer will be considered at the December 1st, 2020 regular council meeting subsequent to the notice advising of the proposed drainage works being sent to the Secretary Treasurer of the Conservation Authority that has jurisdiction over the lands in the affected area. Do we have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Hugh, second by Daryl. Is there any questions or comments, Andrew?
I'm guessing road apportionment means it's township and county you're going to pay for that one?
I believe so, yes.
So we're going to recoup that through the agreement that was previous in the agenda tonight as part of infrastructure. Can we make a note of that, or how do we go about that and make sure that's going to happen?
Ashley's going to answer.
So this drain is actually a municipal drain, so it's on the property. You won't be able to see it exactly in comparison, but because this is benefiting solely this property owner, they should have to pay 100% of the costs.
Including the road
That's
apportionment?
normally how that works with these ones.
Including
Sorry,
the-
you're just on mute on our end, Andrew.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Including the road apportionment then, and sorry, I'm looking at the
Are you looking at one of the conditions from Evan's
P1
report?
P100, the budget impact for the report, roads drainage, oh, hold on a second here.
Mhm.
Road assessment, is that ours? Which one of those items is ours that the township or the county would have to pay for is what I'm asking. We're looking at what number?
So with the drainage reapportionments, whenever we have a severance, the applicant needs to send in a request and they look at whatever municipal drains are in those areas.
Mhm.
And that is solely on the applicant to pay whatever
Okay.
those costs are. So our drainage superintendent Dietrich takes a look at those drains and then reports back to us. And then once the applicant has paid for that, then we sign off on that condition for the county.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, I believe we had a mover and a seconder. Is there any more questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Okay, now we'll move on to the next one, and that is the Curryville drain. And I'll turn it over to Ashley.
Okay, I don't have any further comments for this report. If there's any questions, though, I can answer those.
Okay, is there any questions, comments about this report? Seeing none, the Council of Township of Perth East appoint Dietrich Engineering Limited to prepare an engineer's report under Section 78 of the Drainage Act for the Curryville Municipal Drain, part of Lot 31, Concession 13, Ellis Ward, Township of Perth East in the County of Perth. Moved by Andrew, second by Amanda. Any more questions or comments? All in favor? Carried. Do you have anything else, Ashley? No. Okay, thank you. We'll move to Public Works. The tender results for a front end wheel loader. Wes?
Yep, so I have nothing really more to add to the report other than we were very pleased with the price and the competitive bids. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Wes. Does anyone have any questions for Wes? Daryl?
It's nice to see a few people apply to the tenders, and we haven't seen it there. But the dozer, I recall, it was pretty thin. So, no, it's good. It's interesting. They're a nice machine. What model is it, Wes? You know, 28.
Not exactly sure. There was a couple that we had tendered out. I can't tell you exactly, but I'll send you an email with what the model is.
No, they're a nice machine. That's awesome. Thanks.
Okay, anyone else with questions? Seeing none, the Council of the Township of Perth East received the report 10 PW 2020-04 for the front end wheel loader with snow blade prepared by the manager of Public Works and Parks for information, and that confirmed by this resolution, tender PW 2020-04 for the front end wheel loader with snow blade be awarded to Toromont Cat for the total tendered amount of $249,152 exclusive of HST. Moved by Jeremy, second by Daryl. Any more questions? All in favor? Carry. You have anything else, Wes?
Thank you.
No? Okay, thank you. John, do you have anything you want to say for building? Nope. Bill, for fire?
No, thank you.
Nope. Okay, thank you. So we'll move to correspondence. We have 2 items of correspondence. The first one is from Ray Gerber, president of the Village of Millbank Association, and they would like a road closure for their orange barn. And they gave us the dates that they, December 4, 5, January 8, 9, February 12, 13, and March 12 and 13 to close the road from 3 to 6. Does anyone have any questions on that? Carol?
Yeah, no, it's really unique. That's for sure. Definitely, this business is well known, and yeah, hey, they're doing what they can to work within the times and the headaches. I don't know. They laid out a neat little sketch there. The staff, Wes, what's your thoughts? I think they laid it out well. I'm suspecting this is something we could do.
I have no concerns with it. One of the reasons everybody's going to be staying in their vehicle. So if there ever was an emergency, people can get out of the way. It's not going to be like there's, that you're going to have a bunch of people parking their vehicles and getting out. So I think to me, it seems like a good project.
Okay, anyone else have questions? Seeing none, we do have a motion that the Council of the Township of Perth East receive the correspondence from Ray Gerber, president of the Village of Millbank Association, and Dwayne Erb, Orange Barn, received October 16, 2020, requesting a temporary road closure for the Orange Barn on December 4 and 5, 2020, January 8 and 9, 2021, February 12 and 13, 2021, and March 12 and 13, 2021 for information. And that the Township of Perth East approve the closure of Waterloo Street, Millbank from Perth Road 121 to Rutherford Street, and that the event organizers provide sufficient volunteers necessary to control detoured, rerouted traffic, and the certificate of insurance state that the corporation of the Township of Perth East and the County of Perth be added as an additional insured, but only with respects to their interest in the operation of the name insured. We have a mover and a seconder, moved by Jeremy, second by Daryl. Any more questions? All in favor? Carried. Sorry, I should have given that to you. Okay, the second item in correspondence is from Catherine Schweitzer, and they're asking for a reverse parade of lights. So they're asking that the people can drive by and see the floats at the John Nicholson and Parks Livestock parking lot. So do we have any questions with this proposal? Jeremy?
So they're not really asking for any road closures or anything, just kind of letting us know that this is going on, as far as what I can tell. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe that's correct. They're just telling us, yeah, people, it'll be like the other one. People will be in their cars and they'll drive by. So there shouldn't be a traffic jam, I hope. So. Okay, any other questions on this? Seeing none, we do have a motion that the Council of the Township of Perth East receive their correspondence from Catherine Schweitzer, President, Optimist Club of Mornington, received October 26, 2020, regarding Optimist Reverse Parade of Lights for information. Moved by Jeremy, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we'll move on to council and committee reports. You do have my mayor's log where I was for the month of October. Is there any questions on any of the things that I did? No? Okay. Is there any reports that anyone would like to give? We haven't had county council since the last Perth East meeting. So, okay, there's no reports. Then just we need a motion to accept the meeting log. So moved by Daryl, second by Amanda. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we do have 5 bylaws to read the first, second, third, and final reading. We have the first one is 65-2020, to execution of the Source Protection Joint Risk Management Service Extension Agreement with the Upper Thames, number 66-2020, an agreement with the County of Perth for the PC Connect Community Transit Bus Stop, bylaw 111-2020, to levy the assessments for the maintenance and repair of the Mans Municipal Drainage Maintenance, bylaw number 113-2020, for the assessments for and maintenance for the branch A of the Richardson Municipal Drain, and bylaw 114-2020, to consolidate municipal drain maintenance completed in 2016 to 2020. A mover to accept. Andrew, you have a question?
Can we pull the PC Connect one, 11-1-2? I'd like to vote on that separately, please.
Okay, so that is 11.1.2. Okay, so the other 4, a mover and a seconder to move by Andrew, second by Hugh. You're keeping up? Ashley's writing frantically. Okay, all in favor of that? Carried. Okay, so Andrew, do you want to speak to 11.1.2? Why you want it? You're muted. You're muted, Andrew.
Double click mouse. I get stuck with this thing. I don't know. I try and get rid of it. It comes back. This is a continuation, correct, of the bus stop that doesn't go to Shakespeare.
I think this bylaw is allowing the bus stop to be in Milverton.
Yeah, so,
Oh, is it just specific to that, or is it the entire agreement?
no, Andrew, it's specific to Milverton.
Oh, okay.
Because along the route, there are some other areas, Gads Hill, Bruner, and Newton, where they're still looking for areas that they could stop. It's just, they haven't found one in terms of where property is that the township actually owns. But this agreement is specific to the Milverton stop.
Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so a motion to read it a first, second, third, and final time. Moved by Amanda, second by Jeremy. Okay, any more questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, we have no need for a closed session. Is there any notice of motions? Any new business? Any announcements? Jeremy?
The Milverton Business Association. We've been running the Christmas on Main celebration for the last number of years. Keep an eye on the shop opportunities now, because we are going to continue to run it this year, except it's going online and we're not inviting people into the stores. It'll be more of a scavenger hunt type deal. So just keep an eye on the opportunities and the website. I know the township staff always participated in that really well, and we really appreciate that. It was always exciting to see the staff coming into our offices at lunchtime and getting their stamps and stuff. So it's changed a little bit this year where we're not inviting people into the businesses, but still going downtown and doing a bit of a scavenger hunt. So just keep an eye out for that.
That's great. Thanks, Jeremy. Anyone else? No? Okay, then we just need a motion for the confirmatory bylaw. We need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Jeremy, second by Amanda. All in favor? Carried. And a motion to adjourn at 8:11. Moved by Daryl, second by Andrew. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, everyone. Great night. Good to see everyone.